Welcome to I Am One, where I am one with the Creator and one with myself. I got to be brief because I'm getting ready for work, but I want to share this really quickly. I want to ask the question because I had to have a heart-to-heart with myself. And at the end of all of my contemplation and meditation and soul searching and getting to the root of what I'm looking for, I had to ask myself, so I'll ask you, are you spiritually sovereign? So in order to answer that question, we need to understand or know what sovereign means. So sovereignty is autonomy, independence, self-government, self-rule, freedom, self-determination, self-legislation, non-alignment. So some opposites to that to help you better or make this idea clearer. Opposition, colonialism, subservience, subjection. Now, I'm not talking sovereignty on a national level. I'm not even going there. I'm not touching that. My question to you is the same question I had to deal with for myself. Are you spiritually sovereign? Do you have spiritual sovereignty? Why am I asking this question? Because for those of us who have walked away from organized religion and we're on our path to our higher self, enlightenment, being one, as I say, being one with the Creator and one with myself, as we're on this path, how do we get there? And many times, for many of us, we find that we jump from one type of organization to another. And because it's not called Christian, we think that we're free. We think that we've been liberated. We think that we are those runaway slaves that got out of captivity. When actually all we have done is made ourselves a slave to another system, another religious system, and I dare say another spiritual system. Why do I say that? Because if you are, and maybe that's what you want. So let me preface that. If that's something that you want, that you feel you need to be with others and you need to be with like-minded people and you need to be with those who are doing the exact same thing, the exact same way. If you're one of those that you need that and that works for you and that gives you peace and harmony and bliss, and then have at it. But for those who don't even want to think about that, let alone operate in that, then you are seeking your spiritual sovereignness. So that means you want to be independent. Not that you don't want guidelines and you don't want precautions and you don't want inspiration from others. That's not what spiritually sovereign means. It means that you've heard what others have to say and you've taken what is resonant to you, and you're making that work for you. With no condemnation, no hand slaps, no one over you saying, well, you know that's not the way that it's written. You know that that's not the way we do it over here. You know that that's not, in order to go to step 2, you have to start here at step 1. It's about allowing yourself to walk your spiritual path. However, whatever way that looks like. Again, I'm not saying you can't learn from somebody else and get inspiration from somebody else. But if you are doing exactly the way he or she is doing it, if you can't start it unless they tell you, ready, set, go, you are not spiritually sovereign. I listen to a lot of people, and I get on some of their lives or I watch some of their replays, and I listen to the questions that some of the people ask. And it's the same types of questions that they asked when they were in the church. And I can only reference the church because that's the institution I came out of. I don't know how it's done in Islam. I don't know how it's done with other religious practices. I don't know how it's done there. I just know what I've come through. And the same types of questions I asked when I was in that religious construct are the same types of questions I hear of people who are, quote unquote, on their spiritual path. And it's not because they don't want clarity of a definition. They want step-by-step directions on how to do what they say they want to do. I heard Tabitha Brown. I'm sure many of you have heard her name. Tabitha Brown, I saw her do an interview. And this was back when she was just getting popular with doing her vegan cooking videos. And somebody asked her about cooking and vegan cooking and cooking in general. And she said, you know what? If you have to read the instructions step by step by step, you don't trust yourself. In reality, that's what it comes back to. And I kind of got offended by that because I don't cook. I don't care to cook. Mr. is the chef, so I give him his freedom to create and feed me. And I like to bake. So baking is another animal all to its own, and there are rules that you have to follow or that you should follow if you want success in your baking. So at first I kind of got offended by what she said. But then I had to have a heart-to-heart, one of those heart-to-hearts, and say, she's right. If you have to follow every single detail, step by step by step, only use this, can't use that, then you don't trust yourself. And if you can only get your answers by running to this person or running to that person and only this person. I remember when I was in the church, and I remember some of the members wanted to buy a house or buy a car, and they would take the pastor with them to make that decision. They would schedule an appointment. The pastor would meet them at the car lot, or the pastor would meet them at the building or meet them at the house, whatever the business transaction was. They would not make a final decision without that man standing there and telling them, yes, that's okay. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, you should do that. Or if he didn't agree with it, he would steer them down another avenue that he thought was best for them. And maybe that was a better way or a way of them to consider different options. But that's not what the root of that interaction was. The root of it was, I can't make a decision unless you tell me it's okay. I can't move forward with what I feel I want to do unless you give the approval, the final stamp on it. These were grown-ass men and women who could not make a decision without that man telling them it was okay. And many of us in our spiritual path, claiming we've walked away from church, claiming we've walked away from religion, are still operating in that way in our quote-unquote new spiritual path, our newfound freedom. If you still have to only get answers from one person, and you can't make a decision for your own spiritual path unless they say this is the way to do it, and it has to be A, B, C through Z, it can't be A, D, J, and X, then you are not spiritually sovereign. And in this little presentation, I just want you to know there's hope. I just want you to know that if you truly want to be spiritually sovereign, there's still time. And it can start right now. Get a piece of paper, find a pen or a pencil, write down today's date that you're hearing this, and write down, today I proclaim that I will walk in my spiritual sovereignty. Today, February the 6th, 2024, I will walk in my spiritual sovereignty. Now make it happen. Whatever mindset you need to adjust, whatever ties you need to break, whatever you need to do to make that come to fruition for you, do it. Have that tough conversation with your leader, with your coven, with your spiritual group, whatever name you give it. Have that tough conversation. But first, get it down deep within your core that this is what you want for you. If I'm going to quote something from the Bible, I believe it was Paul who said to work out your own soul salvation. They add all that fear and trembling because the indoctrination had to still be a part of it. But that first part of that phrase is the truth. Work out your own soul salvation. Here's what I wrote for myself the other day. Let me find it. I wrote some things before it. I'm not going to read that to you, but here's how I ended it. My ultimate goal is to walk in truth and save myself. And saving myself means I need to be responsible for my spiritual walk. I need to be responsible for the decisions that I make for my spiritual walk. I will be the decision maker for my spiritual walk. And I know there will be those that will say to you, be careful. You might want to reconsider. Please think this through. And you should. This should not be a rash decision, but it should be a decision from your gut, trusting your gut. As Tabitha Brown said, trust your gut, trust yourself. That this is the way it's going to look for me. However, it morphs and evolves and finally gets you there. But you're going to start that process right now. So that is it. That is all. I got to go get dressed. I just wanted to drop that really quickly for you and encourage you and kick you in your ass and tell you you've got this. And you may have to walk it by yourself for a minute. You may have to walk it by yourself for the rest of your life. But if it's bringing you true peace, just may be worth it. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Peace and blessings to you all.